So, Steven Universe just recently aired its season 5 finale, and it was beautiful. It had a real series finale kind of like feel to it, and it answered a lot of unanswered questions. And if this was the end of the series, I would not complain. But apparently, there is so much more to come, and I am really, really excited. So, in honor of the series conclusion, I decided to redraw one of my scenes from the finale. Steven refusing with his gemstone. This scene was so powerful and so beautiful. They even got someone who used to work on Disney to come in and rough out the animation for them. The whole series, there were hints to there being more to Steven than what we know. Hence, that his mom is truly still alive inside his gemstone. From him having some of her memories to all that imagery and reference to him being his mother. That whole time, Stevens had to force himself to try to be what everyone wanted him to be, his mom. He even references himself to be his own mother on several occasions. He always wanted to be himself, but so many people expected him to be someone else, so he pretended to be. He pretended to be Rose Quartz for Eyeball and Jasper and so many other people, and he pretended to be Pink Diamond for pretty much all of Homeworld. And honestly, that poor boy just, he had so much to live up to. And I feel like it's just such a relief to him to know that he's not his mom. He's himself, and he's always been himself. And the reason this scene is so powerful is because everyone was just proven wrong. It's always been Steven. Rose Quartz, Pink Diamond, she's gone. She's completely out of the picture. And seeing Steven and his gem half dancing and laughing together is honestly the purest thing I've ever seen. I mean, that right there is just pure self-love. And literally and figuratively. figuratively. And that's what the whole show's message is. Love yourself, be yourself, and it's such it's just a beautiful conclusion. Not to mention the rest of the finale, but this scene in particular, it really just strikes a chord, you know? I've probably rewatched that scene 1,000 times just because of how beautiful it looks, you know? I get really emotional over it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful scene. It's a beautiful show, and if you haven't watched it, you definitely should because honestly, I feel like they could only go forward from here. They've got so much of a world left to explore. So much. They have this whole alien mythos that they can get into. We've already seen life on other planets. Sneeple is still a thing from Ronaldo. um, I just I'm excited to see more. I'm really excited to see what Rebecca and Sugar and everyone else has in store, especially with the movie. I honestly really have no idea what the movie's going to be about, but knowing this crew, I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Steven Universe is a good show, and well, it has its flaws. Every show has its flaws. I feel like it shouldn't be judged by a few plot holes or people not having the plot go the way they wanted it to or expected it to. It's a lovely show, and it's telling the story it wants to tell. And for a show that is literally aimed towards 7-year-olds, it's honestly really mature. A lot of shows nowadays, I mean, yeah, some are good, and a lot of cartoons have like, I don't know, especially in kids' cartoons, they tend to have like a lot of like, I don't know how to explain it other than butt humor. And I don't know, the way this show is as an action comedy is just perfect and really refreshing to see, especially on Cartoon Network. Um, Adventure Time is something that I can think of right off the top of my head that comes close to it, but even then, a lot of fart jokes and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, Adventure Time is probably one of my favorite cartoons out there, but Steven Universe is really something different for children's media, and I've noticed a lot that child cartoons in particular have been really maturing a lot recently with Steven Universe, Adventure Time, Star Wars: The Force of Evil. Craig of the Creek is also really good too. I there are a lot of good shows on right now, and Steven Universe just happens to be one of them. I'm kind of rambling here. Uh, I only really scripted out that first part, so you know. I'm trying to think what else I have to say about this show. I've been meaning to rewatch it recently, just because it's come so far, and honestly, all the characters have come so far and changed so much, and it I don't know. I really connect to all of them. They're all realistic and they have flaws, and they're not just perfect beings. I don't know. They're like people, and they're written so well, and you can really relate to their problems and feel for them. And I feel like that's what a good show has to do. You have to be able to relate to your protagonist and really feel for them in order to get involved in the show, to really care and feel about the characters. That's something really special, and Steven Universe does that. You really want Steven to succeed. You really want the gems to succeed, and every character in the show, they they're not perfect. They've made mistakes. Pearl's made plenty of mistakes. Garnet, Amethyst, they're not perfect, but they're imperfect in a way that makes you love them and not hate them. And even the villains are very well developed. I'm a little upset about how quickly the diamonds were redeemed at the end of this finale, but hey, if that was meant to be a season finale and then Cartoon Network went, surprise, you're getting more seasons, then hey, what can you really do? Cartoon Network hasn't really been fair to them with scheduling and airing their show either, so you know, this has been like in the working for a long time. You can't really blame them. But I don't know, just how every character just has something more to them. The villains have their own like good traits and their own personalities beyond just being evil and want to conquer the universe and whatever. I don't know. People are people, and it's refreshing to see a show write characters as people instead of just characters. Of course, they're not real people. They're characters, obviously, and they're not completely realistic, but they're relatable. And that's probably why people love the show so much. I mean, you can have like the greatest story ever to be conceived, but so long as you don't have good and relatable characters, no one's gonna really care. The characters really just make the story, and Steven Universe has wonderful characters, wonderful characterization, and that's all there really is to say on the matter. That's probably why so many people love the show. I already said that, didn't I? Well, it is, and yeah, I feel like people who hate the story of the show don't really connect with the characters. I feel, or don't think that the characters are all that important in the mythos of the show. But honestly, I could care less what's going on with the plot of the show so long as the characters are good and entertaining and make me care for the problems that they're in and the struggles that they're having. And I feel like Steven's finally overcome one of his greatest struggles with being himself and knowing himself and loving himself and not having to be someone else for anyone else and just allowing himself to be him and only be him. Thank you for listening to my ramblings and watching my speed paint. I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you haven't given Steven Universe a watch, you definitely should. All right. I love you all. See you next Friday. Bye bye.